today with another edition of Social Media Review. As usual, me now our host, Fadima Savage, and I get with learned attorney, where instead they help me for co-host today, none other than lawyer
Mohammed
Shilon of North Carolina, a practicing defense attorney for over 30 years in America, and instead they can help we for join Mott for we able for try for talk on the problem of Sierra Leone and push Sierra Leone go before. All man they gain sense, all man they gain voice, and we send them to the one day where they run the country, then they listen, then they hear it, and hopefully they will make change because we all want change. I want better for we people that want better for country. But before I do that, we always, as usual, give reverence to the Almighty God for life. We tell God thank you for being alive, being healthy. If you not get safe what you eat, but you get health right now. If you go knock on your company, somebody must give it. Once you get health, you get outside the lay it. Tell God thank you for that. So make up bring Mr. Shilon, let it tell una plenty I do, and then we can talk on the topic then. Because today we get, as usual, we get for talk on the corona because corona they take over the world still, and they try one by one day at a time for try for eradicate them for let we go able to go back now with normal life. Then also we will go back to the Makeni issue. We will talk a little bit on the parliamentarians, and I will bring Mr. Shilon in where he will talk more on that particular thing, the silent demonstration of the parliamentarians in parliament. Then we will come talk, which is the main topic today. We will come talk on the findings of the Makeni within the organization for consultant for good governance and human rights democracy. We will come see the reports the way they give and let we rub much for that. Also, we will talk what the Emerson in music where they make noise na social media. Everybody get your own way make the where it say we na coconut head and to una say no una put una meaning waiting coconut mean. Anybody get your own, but America like how Mr. Shilon rightfully said to me earlier, he said now we call bubble head. We just shake, but we don't know how they go. We hate the empty. We know they think before we do things and think before we elect to parliamentarians them. And also we will show our video because on August 14th, 2017, we will get a mudslide. There's a video that when there one Sierra Leonean brother go to the site, who side them be promise we then the APC government promise we say they will build housing for them people that they don't destroy their home, their life, their family, they don't die. They will build help for the people. But we will go show now. 3 years later. Waiting don't happen. 3 years later, waiting at the condition of the life of the people. And the question what will get for us then is, if we Salone governments they work for we, what do we think? Because then they come, then give we promises and hopes and everything, but then in the end, the result will speak for itself. The same familiar results on anything what they do in Salone, and the same result no more they come. Governments don't come, government don't go. So maybe Emerson right for call we bubble head. We don't know. Coconut head. We don't know. We're going to talk about it. So Mr. Shilon, sir, make I bring you in, make you tell the people that I do, and then we will go with the coronavirus.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mr. Mohammed Shilon, coming to you from Raleigh, North Carolina. Mina lawyer naya. So I dey on board today with Madam Fadima Savage for help co-host the show. So I hope we'll be able, as usual, for bring to una waiting. We always hope go be some degree of enlightenment for help for cast light on certain things them and get people interested in how the country is being run, and hopefully will lead us them back home, go see some of the broadcasts and then go try for do what in the country needs. But as we all know, the country needs a lot. And so, as I can always say, this broadcast is just we only way for show we company Sierra Leoneans then for say, not to we all go be ministers, not to we all go into politics, not to we all go end up back home, but there is so much from different places, from different angles that we can help the country. So with that in mind, I hope we will come across to una and we're not going to disappoint you now. So I'll pass it over to Madam Savage again.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. People, Leona, thank you again, like I say, for joining we, for come and we can talk on waiting they go on Afriton. But first of all, the coronavirus updates. The coronavirus is a pandemic that is going on in the whole world. And I want for they put the update up there, let we talk on them. Because we already during the briefing this morning, then tell we almost people then, but something will happen where very, very catch my attention. Then say the medium of the people that would die, the age. That means say the people that would die of this coronavirus. As of date today, the 16th of August 2020, and the 21 week, they begin Monday, they begin this Sunday, they begin 21 weeks where Sierra Leone they don't begin fetch this coronavirus. And what did they find out? They find out say, okay, for today, you get 1,956 people there were positive. And then we get 69 people that don't die in a Salone. But one thing we then say, they don't do 11,210 tests. Then say that means say if they break down into percentage, that means say 3 Sierra Leonean for all the tests they run, 3 out of every 1,000 get coronavirus. But there's a danger where the World Health Organization don't put now. Some people then get coronavirus, but they know they show symptoms. Then they are the danger people, and those are the carriers of coronavirus. It can be say with people that get coronavirus, maybe because they don't get enough tests for test them, they don't know. And some people they know they show symptom of coronavirus. So that is the danger. That's why we get for here to waiting and tell we get for go with the social distancing, we get for take and serious like coronavirus day. Because maybe people they know they for don't they die like how then they die in America or the other parts then of the world. But coronavirus still there, and some people them they carry them, but they don't know say they carry the virus and it can pass on to other persons. So what we do, waiting and say for do, and the average age they say at 35 years. So the average age for people that would die, all this 1,100 and almost 1,000 people that don't die. I mean, the 69 people who don't die. Most of them, the middle of now 50. 35-year-old. So young people and they die of corona. We young people and they die. First century they be saying old people them. Now when I know say young people themselves they die of corona. So Lord, we take care of yourself. Take care of yourself for able save me. Myself will take care of myself for able save you. So now that day today we get for the corona updates, and the World Health Organization don't talk and say let we wear we mask because it help for prevent the spread of corona. The more we wear the mask, the more we abide. Heed to the things and abide to the rules and regulation and washing our hands, social distancing, sneezing inside and wear your mask, and not go get together and crowd too much crowd, because we see people they are doing it. We see people just nonchalantly just going about their business, not they wear masks because people are not they follow it, they die in a street. But you can be a carrier, even know that. So so Mr. Shilon, I don't know.
Along that line, there one thing where I observe, I don't know which kind of role the World Health Organization they play, if they role that active or then just they recommend certain things to the government. Because if you look at videos then where they come from Sierra Leone, a large percentage, maybe 90 or more % of the videos them, people usually, just a handful of people in a crowd, I get mask. So we're not sure if the mask them just simply not available, what they can give away for free, or whether the mask have been given to the local government, the Ministry of Health, but they not get a procedure in place for passing to people them, because most people back home to this date are not wearing masks. In a way, I'm not so sure, because the quarantine is one thing, but people have to wear masks. And the other thing we will not do for sure, we not the social distance in Sierra Leone. because I see people in the party, people in the joint crowd. And so it's really hard to tell if we are really serious in terms of minimizing the damage what this corona could do. But we are lucky in the sense that we are not having casualties back home in Australia, like what would they get in America or the European countries or other countries then. So, but I will hope if the government, they get free mask for encourage people them, for give people them the mask for free. Of course, people are not going to wear masks if we want to let them buy, like except now $1 million, they can't afford it. So I will hope part of the help with the World Health Organization, they help we now for give we free mask. And then, but not only give free mask, I will hope they will put pressure on the government, because a lot of times these international agencies, then they give with things and then sit them on the side and watch the government and not use them for what they give for. So I think they for put a little pressure on make we use equipment, supplies, then we then give it for free. Let them just go store them somewhere else or maybe use them for other purpose. But that's the main comment about the social distancing. In other work, well, first of all, practically speaking, we are not distancing ourselves back home. That's one. Two, we're not wear mask. Like just a handful of people in the wear mask. And then so unless we try for put all entities together, we can only just rely on God for safety, but I don't think say would help yourself at all. So I pass on back to Madam Savage.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I want to say something, right? I get before we go to the next topic, I got a comment the other day. I've been there on live and somebody text me, tell me, say, let us sleep na live TV and and then I tell the person, say, say I get Chinese eye, me eye then small. And sometimes I just want to know that sometimes I open my eyes, but me eye then small, then I can kind of all and down, but I don't sleep. It's just like I get Chinese eye. We young people them, they say we're not talking kind nation, come off with we mix with all things. So something down the line, long time ago, I be mixed by Asian. I don't know. I guess small eyes, Chinese eye. So when I go be me people when I just get used to and say, I get Chinese eye, I get small eye. So sometimes it might look, my eyes are fully open. You see, if I open, I say, no, they open big. But my eyes are fully open, but yeah, I get small eyes. So I just want to know that for, FYI. Anyway, yeah, something to laugh about.
Yeah, that's
Let me go now to another issue, another topic where we talked about last week, but Mr. Shilo not been there with we. And then we are here again. It continued this week on social media. That's Makeni Life Matters. We see with parliamentarian them, headed by the opposition parties, then go out there, then say Sierra Leone lives, Makeni lives matter. But then some people then say, why Makeni lives matter? Not to Makeni, no more other people, them, everybody gets their own take on what they see, how they see them, what they saw. But then we play the video again, let we listen keenly, waiting the people then say. Because, they say, everybody agrees Sierra Leone life matters. But in me own belief, and I believe, say, there is a catalyst to something. Everything, therefore, start the beginning of something. We don't ever see with parliamentarian them, and some people then go agree that we have never seen our parliamentarians do any kind of thing. So for the first time, they stand up and speak out. Yes, maybe they might not have done it the right way or the right tone to some people, but let me give them the accolades. Let me give them a little bit of encouragement. Say, this is what we want to see you do for we people. Una get for speak up on issues. Una get for call inquiries on issues. Una get for ask questions. Una see something we know they go right na the thing, because now una na the lawmakers and now una they ask what una see something where they wrong. Una they call to order what is going on here. Una call say we need for come. I invite such and such person. Una come up here, una can explain what una do, because now una they represent the people. Una na the voice of the people. just like how you know we rightfully say, now una them choose because everybody not go represent himself. One person never speak for the rest of the community. So when they go there, una get right for ask the questions. You know, and I know say Mr. Shilon will tell me on the political side, the law side of it. I mean, you know, since he's a practicing lawyer, what does this mean? And what's in that law that what we they keep breaking when nobody is accountable for all these things that are going on? You know, people are frustrated. Sierra Leoneans are frustrated. Regardless of your party, everybody should be upset when they see certain things and then they happen to humanity. Where because they're not concerned, you know what I mean? So because we are all connected in one way or another, we are all connected spiritually, because we are all energy, and the energy in the atmosphere will influence and unbog we all together. So we all get for care when we see things that are not going right and call them for let it be fixed. So let we watch this video. Let we listen again. We'll just play a short side of them. May una listen where the parliamentarian they talk and waiting at them call and waiting at them cry. They will come back to the conversation.
Just after Thursday, August 6, 2020 sitting at the Salone Parliament, members of Parliament, mostly from the main opposition APC party, been taken to the well of Parliament with placard them at the hand. We get different writing them, but the repeated one as you hear na Makeni lives matter. This na very strong message from the lawmaker them, because even the way and manner how plenty, almost all the APC MP them dressed in black Thursday and later put black polo on top with writing Makeni Lives Matter. Don't tell one message, and that's get for do with the June 17 and 18 riots na Makeni City, Bombale districts. This na time where some people say the Salone police shoot and kill but 6 young people them. We been come out na street for demonstrate for waiting them say na Makeni generator after where the Minister of Energy Alhaji Kanja Sise been send people from Freetown for go take one standby generator na Makeni by force and go with them na Lunge Potloko districts. Honorable Chegno Majuba, na leader of opposition na the Salone Parliament, he tell journalists them why them as MP them see the need for send this loud and clear message concerning the Makeni incident and the way and manner how the Salone police been handle them.
With the support we colleagues them from Bombali district, we persistently don't raise issues in this house. As recent as the last sitting, the Honorable Peter Yamba rise under SO23 and call for the attention of this house and the general public to make them get access to the people that died and corpses, so that they will get a befitting funeral and then we get the corpses and go back them. Nothing violent, nothing physical, but yes, we want to enjoy with freedom and continue to enjoy with human rights. As I say, everything gets a start, and perhaps this is not the start, but we consider and think about all other people that don't die before now. As soon as I see me banner, we talk about Sierra Leonean lives matter. So each and every Sierra Leonean, irrespective of your status or who you find yourself, this is non-political. It will not be political. It is patriotic. It is Sierra Leonean, and it will remain Sierra Leonean. With t-shirt wearing a black, the printings in a white, no particulars. So we call on the authorities them, make them listen to the people and cry, and make sure say they help them to enjoy the rights where the Constitution give them.
That na the leader of opposition at the Salone Parliament, Honorable Chegno Majuba, but not to any normal leader at the Salone Parliament, we join MP them for send this message as the leader of the National Grand Coalition NGC party at the Salone Parliament, Honorable Dr. Kande Yumkela, self joined with one word for lent in voice to this issue.
NGC we position consistent. If you look, AYV interview 5th of May, morning coffee 6th of May. Namina the only politician we go na media for talk about Lonsar, Tombo and Padembaro. And we've been very consistent, even the press release will do what Makeni, independent, impartial investigation. Second, right to free speech. The Million Pekin have joined Black Lives Matter. I have been consistent talking about excessive use of force. So for me being here, a number of things. Freedom of speech. Second, we therefore take a look into this issue of excessive force. I opposed it in 2016-17, I oppose it even now. We therefore find other ways to deal with riots. Thirdly, me believe say this funeral now an opportunity For let we teach people then say, we can protect them within the exercise their right. For example, if them family I want bear them people, me waiting me go glad for see. Now for say police they protect them, guide them for go bear them people. Now that we don't see in other countries. Me don't then a protest in Europe. And they give we protection all the waka. No violence, no nothing. So me, yes, are they in solidarity? Every life matter. And not let too much police brutality anywhere. For say do ya, let we do something else. Also, even we would express protest, we can do them peacefully, but we forbid within the remit of the law. It is our right. Also, the police, for talk to them, train them, say there are other ways of dispersing crowds. It's happening too much from 2016 to now, and I think it's getting worse.
That's not the leader for the National Grand Coalition, NGC party at the Salone Parliament. But not to just toss the August 6, this Makeni issue show face at the Salone Parliament as Friday, July 24, 2020, the Member of Parliament for Constituency 32 na Bombali District on.
All right, me people, that when I don't see this video, we're not going to continue because we know say we don't beat them, we don't talk about them, we don't talk about them. But Mr. Shilon, you don't watch with parliamentarian them, they don't talk, they don't speak up, they don't stand up, they don't say, you know, all Sierra Leonean life matters, but people then still say why them for wear Makeni t-shirt matters. There are many commentaries out there, everybody they give for and against waiting wrong with that picture there. So in your own eyes, Mr. Shilon, help with people that understand how you see this thing where the parliamentarian they do, they stand up with the parliamentarian, they stand up, how you see them and from the law side and how it look, you know, as your own profession side, sir.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you my own take on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I give the various opposition groups, them APC, NGC, and the other groups, them I give them a lot of credit for raising a voice, for standing out, for complaining and demonstrating about what happened in times of lives being lost at Makeni. No question about that. These are steps in the right direction. But I think, say, they could have done much more even earlier, because one of the gross injustices I don't ever see whether take place in terms of lives being unnecessarily lost in Sierra Leone. Now the killing will take place in Pademba Road, and the number, the sheer scale of unarmed, defenseless prisoners who got killed unprovoked to we understanding. And are they at Parliament step up to the responsibility? Maybe the Makeni incident may not have happened. But the problem is you just don't let that many lives get lost and nobody's accountable for what happened. Because for all we know, there were more than 60 lives lost at the Pademba Road prison under the pretext that there was a prison riot, where by all indication, so far by all the evidence we know of, where exist, there was no riot. The prisoners were locked up. So these are defenseless people. But here is the problem. With the same Makeni Lives Matter, how do we know that among those 60 or more prisoners who got killed, 10, 15, 20 of them were not from Makeni? Okay, how do we know they were not other people? So when we begin to play politics in terms of where things happen, we not look the reality of the situation, that whether you're in prison, whether you're in Bombali district, whether you're in Tonkolili, whether you're in Putloko, you know, there is a common saying, injustice anywhere is a threat to injustice everywhere.
Justice everywhere.
Instead of us begin to focus on where an unfortunate incident happened, we get together and cry out when we see something we're unjust, we're unfair. We don't want for which take kind of we undo much. It could be too late. So this is what we've seen, because the prison situation took place. There was no outcry. the Tombo situation took place, there was barely any outcry. The Lone Star situation took place. There was barely any outcry. And then, of course, since the thugs or the youths who cause trouble, as well as police officers and military officers who just recklessly shoot and kill people, nobody accounts for anything, it continues. So what I would suggest is that the government get to be firm. There has to be accountability on both sides. If you are a youth, you go out there to demonstrate, of which you have a constitutional right to do. I mean, you should not be ostracized by police officers or be made not to demonstrate. But also youth have to know that violence, destruction of property, these are crimes. And if you engage in that, you will get into trouble. Now, there's also another take, and this is where the politicians, you get to blame them. The misuse of young people it has to stop. Mm-hmm. Because what is happening now, maybe even in Nigeria, some of the youth and the street boys that are beginning to learn. When a governor, a corrupt governor or a politician call them, say, hey, I got something for you to do. I want you to go burn somebody in house or destroy something. These boys have learned now. They say, okay, and you go pay me, but make sure say you bobo, whatever your name, make it join we. Where would you go? So then you say, no, I don't want bobo for join. Then they say, oh, you bobo get you, again my man. So we say get my me and daddy. So if you not care for we own lives, like you picking life you care for, we not to go. It's about time people they need for begin for educate the young man that way to go out on the street, they go demonstrate. Say it's not always in your best interest for go out there and make all this noise, say me na APC, me na SFPP. It does you no good. You need to put food on your table, take care of yourself, and do other things. So not to go out there to go holler for them politicians, then who at the end of the day. Now, if a thorough investigation is made, you will see that the people that wouldn't kill are almost certain are not from prominent family, are not from well-off family. These are just ordinary guys who did not have much of anything to do, fail, say them to do patriotic stuff, then go out there, go demonstrate, then they get killed. And to my understanding, all of them, their bodies were taken to Freetown at the mortuary. The bodies are still there. They have not been released to the relatives, which is such an emotional hardship on the people. So, look, we were fortunate enough for learn a little bit of something. We need to stop for misleading people. The Makeni incident should have never happened. It was none of the business of the youth there for go begin make a lot of noise, but they were misled. They misunderstood the essence of what was happening based upon what you made us see. They were led to believe that if they can't take the generator, Makeni will get blackout. Well, of course, I would be outraged too if I go left in a dark for go give other people. But that wasn't the fact. The fact was that Makeni get 24/7 light. This was an extra generator. But just show you the bad management, we misplaced priority in Sierra Leone. Lunge, when at the main gate into Sierra Leone, we forget the best of everything, then give them generators that Lunge Airport, let me not say Lunge Airport. According to the minister, the generators, not even one generator, were not working properly within a Lunge Airport. Well, Lunge Airport, now I forget the best of the best. Okay, then it just show you the reflection of judgment, the reflection of priority, and how we administrative procedures are very poor. That should have never led to anything, because if it was done properly, these people would have come to Makeni, check that generator day, go. It would have been just a regular day. There will have been no opposition. So somebody, in a subtle way, spread the word out there for incite the young man there, or lead to this. The one more thing. Now they are talking about, oh, they might charge some people then. Well, first of all, you know, this is the thing that gets me about Sierra Leone. This is the country that says, well, cases then they take 5, 6, 7 years, even though they have basically nothing to do. I challenge any lawyer in Sierra Leone. I can show them procedure. The entire Sierra Leone, and I say this and they can take me on if they believe this. I am in a system that can dispose of Sierra Leone cases, the whole country, in 1 month. Every case can go to trial and can be disposed of. So, but they get a system where they can't deal with the workload. What are they talking about? Going to charge people then, you know, and which, particularly in a situation where we'll get political overtone. They need for left that alone. Resolve this because a bad situation this. Don't exacerbate the situation by trying to charge relatives or people who want to suspect, say, had anything to do with it. My suggestion would be to the government, leave that alone, deal with the situation as it is, compensate the family of the lost of the loved ones that would have died, and learn from that and move on. But if they want for go and charge people with a crime they may not be able to prove, all they will be doing is just to add insult to injury and hard feelings baselessly. So that would be my advice to the current government.
Yeah, that is why we say the problem in Sierra Leone had for fix, because when this particular government is in power, they do these certain things. And when the next governments they come, and it's between those two parties for 59 years.
Well, you know,
between the two. And then they go come, and it is true that APC has ruled more, but they are all coming back and doing back and forth stuff to people. And talking about that, let's go to the findings. The findings of the Cghrd, which is a consortium for good governance, human rights and democracy. And according to the report, what we get now, Sierra Leone Telegraph, would bring out some points them and waiting the findings come out into. Let me put my glasses on because I cannot read it all, but we'll see what we can read. And the good governance, the consortium for good governance, he said that he sent people them, the Secretary General, Mr. Marcos Bangura, said on the 23rd of July, they send people then go check and go see and investigate the riot and the destruction and loss of lives and property, waiting happened. In the investigation, they spoke to the mayor of Makeni. We don't really say, they said and they charged the mayor because she's a stakeholder. And Mr. Shilon asked the question, who are the stakeholders? What do they mean by stakeholders? Because you keep saying stakeholders. Are they my own guess? Is they're saying the people that run are in charge, are governing that area, the district, the mayor, the councilwoman, or whoever. I guess that's what they call it, stakeholders. But I don't know if you want to say anything about that. But they said, according to that, the mayor of the Madam Sunkari Kamara, and the chairman of the Bombali district, John Koruma, the Assistant Inspector General of Police, Frank Alpha, of Northern District of Sierra Leone Brigade, all the other medic, they all be dead. And then when he talked to the mayor, he find out, say, the people that were going to do the investigation, they find out, say, right after the Minister of Energy, we don't talk about this generator, we don't have this conversation, we can remember, say, the minister will say, there was a silence. Nobody not get back to them. They wait 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But nobody went to check and send back, say, why are not you for Muna? And when them people go, where they is Cghrd then go find out, say, the mayor been there in a hospital because he tested positive for corona, he not be well. He said he not be well, he be there in a hospital. So might that have been the silence that the minister been the talk of? Did anybody do a follow-up? Did anybody, if you can get pure intention for help and come to one word? Because sometimes we as human beings, we they do pantap thing, then follow and say I do, but our intentions might not be pure. You know, I'm just looking at the report, and if this woman is sick and was in the hospital, why then they did not reach out to her and say, okay, who are they in charge next, or who are not the person in charge next? But then the report find also that the stakeholders then failed to inform residents about the minister's plan to remove the and relocate the generator. He said that the timing of the relocation of the generator was odd at midnight. That gave rise to suspicion and disputes between the residents, local council, and government officials. He said that the response of the Makeni youth was spontaneous. He believed that it was spontaneous and without intent to cause destruction, and that the Sierra Leone police was incapable of controlling the crowd and had to call in the heavy armed army military for assistance. He responded that the office of the ruling SLPP is located like 100 miles away from the transmission. Usually the transmission been there and all that thing there. So the youths then become angry and started for throw stone and pelt stone and all that kind of confusion there. The heavy-handedness and the use of bullets by the military resulted in the death of 6 unarmed civilians and 8 seriously injured. A lot of human rights violations were committed against the protesters, Marcus Bangura told reporters. He also said their engagement with the AIG Alpha in Makeni is clear that the protesters were unarmed but had machetes, stones, and sticks. The police, he said, was overwhelmed by the protesters and therefore felt they had to call in the military for assistance. And the brigade commander Barrick of Teko Barracks told the investigators that the forces used by the soldiers to control the crowd was appropriate to the threat of the present presented by the protesters. But the Bombali District Council headquartered human rights blamed the breakdown in communication between the parties and the unreasonable use of force by the security forces in this and that. So the bereaved families are expressing frustration and blah, 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 blah. And then he goes to say there are several, the Cghrd made several recommendations, including the immediate establishment of an independent judge-led investigation into the incident, and all suspected perpetrators of the shooting be suspended. They say all the one that will shoot them for suspend them, na the recommendation they done there until the investigation complete and found guilty. If they're guilty, for let them go through the trial. If they're guilty of killing people, they face the full penalty of the law, and then they forget training because we police there we don't see, and beaucoup people don't complain how we police they not sabi for handle situation where we police the trigger happy. We see we police them, they're all just broken. The institutions are not properly trained. They're not conducting themselves in a professional manner. We all know that. That's not a secret in Sierra Leone. We all know that. We see boku team them. They therefore go back into training. They therefore go into sensitization. They therefore sensitize the people, sensitize the police, sensitize the community. They therefore build a bridge between community and police. Because we see another country where they, because if the bridge between community and police, the people do not trust the police, the people do not trust the government, then there's not going to be any peace, there's not going to be any progress, because we for trust one another, for try for work together for the good of the people as well as for the good of the country. And then he also recommended that the energy ministry to pay compensation of 150 million to each family of the deceased as shown of regret of the killing, and that the remains of the deceased be handed over the families for immediate burial paid for by the government. And then an editor's note were put out there after when they don't do the finding. An editor's note come out there say police in Freetown did a thing last week where they talk say then they find all the 51 youth, 51 young people. Them be all them police. They say now they go cause the riots. People can point people saying that that person they go make the riots and not like you appoint you. But we don't know. The courts go decide. The people, the lawyer, they go decide with the trust in the judiciary system for work. It said 51 people they arrested in Makeni for riotous condition, and then they also that they will be prosecuting the mayor of Makeni, the mayor, city council, and several others for conspiracy. So this is what is going on right now. Now, standing at the recommendation and standing at the finding from the Consortium for Good Governance and Human Rights Democracy. Mr. Shillon, sir, I'm not sure you don't read in detail. What do you take from the finding, and what do you get for add and or take away and for this finding here? Because the big deal was we call them, we reach out to them. Who are them? We don't know. They say stakeholders. But then one of the stakeholder, the main stakeholder, when the mayor, now this organization don't come out say she was sick in the hospital with coronavirus. So what do you take, sir, on all the reports?
Well, I not agree with the recommendation all the way. Some of the recommendations, they make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Why then say a judge-led investigation? I don't know. A committee can do just as well, but a judge-led, if that is more economical or maybe more efficient, maybe less expensive, maybe that will work. I have nothing against a judge-led, but I think they should just have recommended that an investigation be done. The purpose of the investigation is to prevent a recurrence of such a thing anywhere in the country. Because unless an investigation is done, unless certain preventive steps are taken, it will happen again and again elsewhere. Now, with respect to calling or the mayor being sick or wasn't sick, if you look at the facts, I mean, there are a lot of things under good governance that one cannot understand. The generator belonged to the central government, the main Sierra Leone government, the BO government. This generator was just in Makeni for storage by all indications. Now, as a matter of courtesy, the minister, Mr. Kanjas, say call and say, I can't take that generator there. All right, it's true. If you give somebody something for keep or hold or watch for you, you just don't want to go behind and back, go take her, making one that say, but now, call me, say you can't take her. I can understand that. But other than that courtesy call, they did not have to wait for the yes or no of the mayor because it did not belong to Makeni by what we know, that government generator. And in fact, it makes the case worse for the youth them if the generator they were taken at night. Well, nighttime, lights there on. So the youth or other people will have known or should have known that this generator not got nothing to do with electricity where to take place, with the supply power in the area. But obviously, what had happened there, somebody took undue advantage of the situation, deliberately misinformed the people, unnecessarily excite them, cause them for engage in unprovoked attack, and then it led to this. Now, the report is saying they were unarmed. Well, then the same report say, although some of them had machetes or machetes and sticks, well, those are arms. So you cannot say they were unarmed. But because we need to be clear, were they or they were not? But now, even if they had machetes or machetes and sticks, such weapons require a response with a live bullet, because for the police to respond that way, and in fact, what you would understand, the police just decided, oh, we can't handle the situation, let's call the army. Now, why do you call an army? You bring them in to aggressively kill people. But basically, that's what they do.
Yes.
So you talk about lack of training, you talk about poor judgment, you talk about no common sense. The police are guilty of, you talk about incompetence, all of that they're guilty of. But the thing is, if you go back, I don't see any reason why the minister needed some kind of response from the mayor for go take government generator who belong to the government. I think it's irrelevant, it's immaterial whether you hear it from the mayor or not. But having said that, my thing is, I agree, the police need more training because you can tell by all indications. And the police then behavior almost everywhere what would you see is excessive. And then police, they even engage in unnecessary act, like when somebody want to go take somebody in property, you go join police them for go. No, police are not for the president and president unless there's a court order. So this is where the law comes into place. There has to be a court order. People should not be allowed, ministers should not be allowed, nobody should be allowed to just call the police, call the army. With respect to criminal charges, I still say they need for be very prudent, they need for be very deliberate, they need for make serious political calculation there. I don't think it does anyone any good to charge the mayor of a crime, the evidence of which will be highly, highly speculative as to whether again is substantive evidence for prosecuting with. And like you say, with respect to the 51 so-called suspects, some of them may or may not have been involved, and we don't know what in-depth investigation has taken place for them for things say now 51 but they may demonstrate at the place or young man them. So for me, it will be politically wise to investigate for the sole purpose of trying to prevent a recurrence anywhere in the country of this situation, a recurrence of the Tumbo situation, a recurrence of everything. It would be politically unwise to just go ahead and charge people them, because all they will be doing is to exacerbate or inflame the situation, and it solves nothing. It solves nothing from my perspective, but they are the ones making the policy decision. And this is why we keep spinning. We will with tires in the turn, but we're not to go anywhere. Like the average American will say, we ain't going nowhere. Because, basically, we wheels the turn, but Australia not to go anywhere because the one day where they're in the policy making position, they are just not thinking the proper way. Like I said, the minister no get no business for wait for get an answer. He no need no permission for go remove government property. And then of course clearly you can suspect say somebody misinformed the youth them, but the youth also need to know all over the country that they need not put their lives in harm's way unnecessarily for selfish politicians. And they need to know also that anything they do, they get for doing within the law. You can't go to stone government oaths or police officers, you're asking for trouble. So I think if everybody try to comply with the law, youth, when I comply with the law, the police, they're not there above the law, but I shouldn't think non-Australian and think with a badge, they get the authority for go and do anything. We'll get for rein them in. And we definitely, on that good governance, it's time for them for start reining the police also in. If they're not doing that, they're asking for big problem. Now, one last thing about the Makeni issue, because I see the head of NGC, he also had the Makeni Lives Matter. I know he's trying to be in solidarity with the Bombali brothers, them, or members of parliament. That's wonderful. But I think Dr. Yumkela also for remember that some of us who have watched the play between APC and SAPP, and I have always taken the position that neither one of these parties will do any better than the other. Sierra Leone need a viable opposition. Viable means an opposition that can, because what people in the talk about 2023. Now, let's analyze the situation. Do we really want BO government to go out to be replaced by APC? Do we really believe APC will be a better government?
That is the big question. That's the $1 million question.
Yeah, I mean,
want to know because
both political parties have history.
Mm-hmm.
We know how. We know what APC has done. We know what SAPP is doing now and have done in the past. So we need a viable alternative to these two parties. So I will hope Dr. Yomkela go try for make people and feel comfortable say, neither of this party can do what Timi go able to do for Salone. Because that's the feeling. Salonians are looking really for a party that will one day be neither APC nor SAPP for run that country there.
Now, Mr. Shilon, I got a question to that though. Yeah. Are people ready for it? We don't ready for that because when I go Freetown from November to February, about 3 months in Freetown, and I come back with a conclusion that we're not ready yet. We dey play politics, we dey play house. It's like they say you dey play house, you dey play house, we dey play. But the minds of the people, the minds of the ones that rule us, I don't think we're not ready yet for the change that we really need.
Well, let me answer that.
Mm-hmm.
Ignorance is one of the worst sickness mankind can get. When you're ignorant, we even see an ayah, you can do a lot of things against your own interests. That's what we're saying. Let me give you a good example. Mm-hmm. We all know within the diaspora, for say, without Sierra Leoneans in the diaspora, Salone economy will collapse.
Mm-hmm.
The remittance of funds to Sierra Leone responsible for a substantial part of sustaining the Sierra Leone economy.
Mm-hmm. I
don't think anybody would deny that. Yet, when the last general election come, and you blame like Dr. Yomkela in party, I'm being very frank. What were the people saying? Oh, Yomkela, now the people, we were there and we know what's in the happen. Yomkela, now they wonder where they overseas. Now then the supporter, we're not the supporter. Now that's a stupid statement. Because to begin with, we know more than the people in way they would think say they know what's in the happen because of social media. We see instantly so many things. They don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
They think say because then in the talk say, oh, we didn't have to suffer. But yeah, we will continue for suffer. Now we didn't have to send for every month.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're all in this together.
Yeah. So now
our business.
Yeah. So now we send for every month. So now we get the opportunity, like I had the talk show today, for make objective comments and observation about the people and what they affect on our lives. But me think say, party like Dr. Yomkela and party, now therefore educate the people and for say, look here, okay, I don't believe what APC they do, I don't believe what SAPP they do. Trying to play it both sides, trying for please these two parties. I mean, I think all they're asking for is trouble, and then they put the country in more. Because if you not go on APC hand, you go end up in SAPP hand because
we don't get party there. We don't split. We get the APC. We don't split. They come up with what's it called? We don't get the SAPP. We don't split and come up with the party. But the third wheel in Sierra Leone, not the work because. Like why I say that because in 2018 and all the observation and all the stuff we go, the NGC failed because number one in me on AAR after action review is what I see. Number one, we get for put we egos apart. We get for left we ego to the door. Not because now me come with the idea and me go lead. There are sometimes I might come with the idea, but I can pass the baton to the other person. And what like me been a call for, if you want change in Sierra Leone, we get 14 parties the way they're going. If they become to one big massive coalition, I think they would have been able to speak the language of the people. Because with Dr. Yomkela, he get the one in a diaspora, and then he get the one them na free tongue, mostly where they support him in small tongue where he come out. But those other parties, they don't build and base them for the longest time. How do you speak the language of those people? Because number one, what me observe in Sierra Leone politics, then the member in Sierra Leoneans them is how what in they eat tomorrow. They're not a member waiting at the next month. How for make the change go come, we'll go help them for land them for fish so they go able to sustain their life. When them politicians they come, they give only for right now. What you they eat today? What you they do today? Yeah, I give you rest, I give you t-shirts, I give you money. Yeah, then dance, then go forth. That's the politicians know the trick. And this is why we come back to Emerson. Emerson said, we are bubbleheads. We're not coconut head. Because now we they alert, but now we they go vote back for them. Now we they say, but now we they go vote. We not they think. We just go with the flow because that person will feel say because it don't can give without rest. It don't can give without one back rest for the area. It don't can give with money. Who feel say now that person they go help me follow. We go to the next level of life. And that is the language that we if new people then get for can defeat APC and SLPP, new coalition, new party, new thing, they all for come with the same mind. Everybody for living egos because that's the danger. Too many egos, then they mess up everything. And that is what me think, and I've been talking to some people that don't come from NGC, me think say, now one of the failure that they will make NGC no win election. Well, I mean, how would we go forward changing the minds of the people? Right.
Well, I wasn't so sure that NGC will have been able to win that election there. I think, probably would have been a miracle because it was a very young party. Mm-hmm. Then just start. And then, so I was not surprised that they were unable to win. But if they get them policy in place whereby they need to recognize that we have two major parties of similar ideologies. So it doesn't matter which one of these two parties then they in power. The end result will be almost the same. Mm-hmm. You see, so you need a viable party, and among the opposition, with the exception of APC as it is now, and Yom Kippur party. That's why I think if we engage in main pronouncement, for example, I'm not a politician, but if I were running for an office, I can go and talk to the ordinary man. What are you in APC or SLPP? And I think if I ask them, how old are you? What kind of job you do? I mean, and then you go on and on and on and say, listen, I had to run for under this party. Now, I may be the wrong candidate for you. Now, if you feel say, anybody where they come, they give you one bag rice, they give you one bag sugar, and the person for vote for, then me not to the candidate where you want. Me go be the candidate who go make you get rest all the time, but you own labor. You get for educate the people. It's a tough job. Mm-hmm. It is a real tough job. Not a thing where you just get for win right away. But people have common sense. People have intelligence. Suffering, I mean, you watch the videos of all the people and they suffer all the time. Okay? So I don't think it takes much technique for persuade people and for say, you are being misused. I'm not going to say being used for waiting to happen back home. Because otherwise, my problem in Sierra Leone, and when we get back to the Emerson thing, you will see, because a lot of the lyrics, I mean, it speak volume of a political system. Yeah. Unless, see, people are making a big mistake. All these guys who are talking about, oh, Mina SLPP and APC, listen, they either don't know the history of these parties or they just don't care. And because these parties don't have anything to be proud of, because we know that. Mm-hmm. I need not try to make all this pronouncement. Mm-hmm. Listen, in Salone district, when I was growing up, as a young guy, now we be to collect APC money. I mean, me convert me papa into APC, on and on and on. I don't want to get into my political history. So I have nothing. My spirit for APC died when I realized what Shaka Stephen was up to. Okay, so these young people, when they talk, they want to join APC, this and that, they either don't know the history of them partia, or, I mean, about my guy. There are a lot of negative things we will say. The reversal of fortune for Sierra Leone started under Albert Magai. This was the man who was just waiting for introduce himself, one party. Shaka Steve will just take the baton from our run when he ended up with power. But what Steve is doing, hey, Magai be the try for do. So people need to understand with political history. You know, like I always say, I was a political activist. These two parties are not going to run Sierra Leone smoothly unless you get a strong man who comes in and really does not care about consequences. Why I say consequence, I know they talk about be lawless, but come and say, okay, if I lost the next election, I lost the last election, but I must do something progressive. Unless you come up with that mentality there and try to be democratic, but if you're going to play it carefully, it's not going to work. This is an all-million thing, and this is just one man's opinion. This is just my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of people would think like you, and I do think like you too. But then when you have the new parties that form, it's a breakaway from all politicians and all people that have been in the system. Then they break away, they make their own party. All to me, it's all about greed. Then when the party not win, then everybody go back to Usai Kamot. Then are you really serious for say I come for can help the change that I really been to say I want for Sierra Leone? That is the question too we get for us people. And this Mr. Brahma Kamal Koroma say I am too young to know the political arena of Sierra Leone. We grew up under Siaka Stevens rule till Momo and the thing. And I want to tell you, sir, I grew up that same era. I left Sierra Leone 1985, where Shaka Stevens and I was 21 years old. So you know me age now, count and calculate. This is 2020. I was 21 years old. I left Freetown, where they sing Momo Sidonomo Dengi and Power. I remember that time they danced and did something about it. Then the next week I left to come to America. So for you for say I'm too young, I think I know what I'm talking about. I just want for calculate me age, then I mean you go get me, you know, But these are the things we've been seeing with grandpapa then SLPP na they be there for. Then they for SLPP the palm tree, nobody not get for the me mama they all na SLPP then they for. Then they make the palm tree because they get there waiting and call. And sometimes I'm telling them, why are you dancing for these people? Why are you making for these people? But they don't see it. They don't see it. What do we see? They're not a see. And that's why we need somebody. We need people. We're not there inside the arena then they. When they come up from the left field, but know what they're doing. And if a massive coalition got to come together, what I say is they therefore put the ego aside because that is the human selfishness too, where some people and they come together, maybe that one having platform, that one having platform, that one having platform. When they can't join together, now who's going to be in charge here? Now everybody start fighting, then the intentions are not going to be pure. But we wait for that. We hope for that because we want Sierra Leone, the Sierra Leone where we grew up, the Sierra Leone where we sabi, the school where I go, the kind country where we make. Just after the Wetman, they don't let from Te, it begin go down. Shaka Stephen in Temte and over to Momo, where begin go down. Then we begin, everything start closing. SLPMB, Brewer factory, Natco factory, all kind factory in there. Now, Frito, we get the Kingsway Chemist, we get the Bata Shoe Company, we get Agenet, we get PZ, we get all them company, them we've been there, what we just feel say within a Europe, we may live a good life, you know, thing. You know, and then sometimes we look at the rebel war. The war came to Sierra Leone, but it is a blessing in disguise because a lot of people had the opportunity, other countries, they're open to them, for let them come, let them able to take care of them. Because if people are not been there, how we been able to sustain with people them were left na frito? How? That's why we not the diaspora, we for all we self accountable. We for all we self say, this is why we can't stock in that country because of the bad governance for the longest time. And now we're stuck in these countries with the burden of our people on our shoulders. Every month is like just another bill you get for send for your people. Something small no matter what. But you give them because of the love. You give them because they don't get no other way for go. They don't get no other way for get because the system, the structures in place are not working for the people. And that's what we should think before party. You know, I don't know. The lines are open, people. You can join the conversation, and we go to Emma Sin in talk. I don't know if you get anything for answer. Go ahead.
Well, just as to further the comments. So this, I think, people them need to understand. Young people who are here, who are dying. You know, the problem is when people then begin follow political party based on tribe or tribalism, then they just don't know the history of them party. Okay? I don't know how it will manage can arrive at as one party, Naminde party, another party, a northern party. I don't know how to reach, because if people then go back and read the history of SLPP, then go find out for say, there were all sorts of people, Creole, Minde, Timini, from SLPP. You know, and APC, I was old enough when it came into being. We are one of the early one them. We were all modeled where Dr. Fona Ibrahim Taki, they went in there. You know, as young teenagers just growing up, this Dr. Sirifore or Sirifore, these were the people we admired. Okay. And then when we begin to say we had a prime minister in the person of Shaka Stephen, who had no intention whatsoever of running Sierra Leone in a good way. He only cared about was for his own, I'm not even calling him well-being, but turn on everybody and executed all the people that were bringing the power.
Yes.
Come on, folks. When I want to talk about this wonderful party, you go back and study the history. You know, barely very few people left will bring Saka Stephen a power away, you know, turn on, including somebody like Ene Shamel, who was bankrolling them, and the Lebanese guy. He deported him. T.S. Johnson, prominent lawyer who was going all over the country representing APC and people, and because my guy was arresting Taki all the one and day, he was representing them. When APC kind of power, he didn't make him a QC, he gave and Johnny Smythe. People need to understand with history. So we need, if this party is to continue, they need fresh ideology as things are. Because this same old. And, you know, I am not a pessimist, because I am a great believer that God give we all the faculties, all the abilities for change with situation. So we can't be talking about, because I listen to people, oh, God there, God go pray. No, God is sitting there looking at it as being a bunch of crazy people or stupid people, to be honest with you, because he give we everything. So he's not going to come down and change things for we. Yeah. Because we for not land we own history, we for know what's good for, we will for try for work against the one that we know the support we interest. Now, one last thing I will say about Sierra Leone. I keep saying it. I will need to put things in perspective. This is the country that not too long ago, 40, 50 years ago, was #1 in Africa and almost everything.
Yes.
From education to, you name, transportation, you name it.
Judiciary.
Everything. Sierra Leone will be the St. George's, na Gambia, na Nigeria, na Ghana, na Kenya, na Uganda, na Tanzania. We send professors to all their countries then they. So folks, we don't understand with history, which we all on a PhD, when I just come, when I get positions then, when I think say, we have a history of being the leading country once upon a time. Now we first get double-decker bus in Africa. Now we first get railroad in Africa. Now we first get airports in West Africa. On and on and on and on. You know? Now compare with economy. With all them book money I will get. 10,000 Sierra Leone leones to $1 US. Now, let's stop comparing Sierra Leone to Western countries. Gambia, small Gambia, the rate of exchange about $50 to $1. But now we get all the Bukumande. But Gambia Gambia had a dictator in the person of Jammeh. And even under Jammeh, even though he himself was corrupt, he held corruption down at a minimum. He was the only person allowed to be corrupt. He would not allow anybody to be corrupt. So he held everything down. I mean, me no mind, let Salone pay that price there if we get 1 or 2 corrupt people them, but let the country benefit.
That's go before, yeah.
So, but no Gambian would tell you under Jammeh, Gambia did not progress. It progressed. He was a ruthless guy. I don't support that. He was corrupt personally. I don't support that. but Gambia as a country enjoyed progress. All they have, let's understand, Gambia not only is small in population, but they have no mineral resources. They have no agricultural resources. People then talk about granite. The granite is nothing to be, it's much. Their main industry is tourism.
Tourism, yes.
We have 10 times finer beaches than Gambia. We have 10 times more beaches than Gambia. So how are they able to sustain the national economy on tourism? We can't. We can't with diamond, gold, iron ore, chromites, piassava, coffee, cocoa. Come on. And then with the patronize ourselves, with the talk about how many PhDs we get, with the talk about how educated we get, with the talk about APC and SFPP, we know the sheer lack of progress and backwardness that we've been engaging in 60 years of independence. We ought to be ashamed. So we should not patronize. I keep saying we should hold the feet to the fire of the one that would run Salone.
Yes, we sure should. We get phone call. Let's take a few. Let's see. The question be, who is going to take Sierra Leone to the top? For that would be the front runner again. Who get the vision? Who has the vision? We want it in our lifetime. We want Siam because we want Siam. We want to go back to the top. But who is going to take us? We have for 10. Who is going to take us? Who is going to take us? I don't see it yet. I don't see it yet. But like you say, I'm hopeful. My uncle Tony Rogers always say, the struggle, may his soul rest in peace of blessed memories. He said the struggle continues unabated. They talk for a moment a small picture. They read English. The struggle continues unabated without an end. But we're still hopeful. We're still hopeful. Let me take all your thought, Mr. Gillon. Let me take all this. Let me listen what we people then there for add for the conversation. Good evening, caller name, please, and who's they call we from?
Yeah, I'm Lawrence Fox. I call from England.
Yes, Mr. Fox Lawrence. How you doing, sir? Go ahead, please.
I think when they look at political parties all over the world, we get Democrats, we get Conservative, we get Republican, we get Democrats. So it's not the political party. Now to get a system we messed up in our country. And we the people we are bored back now. We have the greater kind of system, then we messed up back again. We said they contribute. Because the future say we know the people them. Some of them don't come out of our country 10, 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Then we still want for the continue for the contribute what's in the happen under one force reset and the people who don't even understand what's in the happen in that country. That's the fact. Understand? And then some of we back, we just go back, we not even criticize the situation that we did with the cherry pick. With the sit-down pick situation, we look at we party them, we look at the party system, we look at the region we will come out. And I'm box also. Because if me and you can sit down, Mr. Shilon sit down there, like I yourself sit down there, you understand? They tell me about Shaka Stevens. These days are gone. We're talking about modern day democracy. Shaka Stevens and Albert Makeni, all them days then we talk about one party system. Now we're talking about a multi-party system. What's that mean? You've been dating and go make mad up 22 years, you know, work one day. You know, work one day, 22 years. Me and you sit down, then go make a president. You think to say Salone go better by that kind of system. And I tell Salone for the beginning we say, we sit down in the diaspora. Yeah, about all this. We didn't even advocate. We didn't even talk. So people didn't even protect Mother Bill. So people didn't even protect their self-PP. Educated people, they look at Mother Bill, they make them president. And then they go wrong. Because the kind of man and they will not even work for 22 years. The other man, they will have a coopist. The other man, they don't get caliber. If you don't get people who get system, what do you think say they happen? So the system they well. And that's the fact that Salone. And if you don't get the system then correct, what do you think say they happen? The kind of tell you Allah so. Now you go to parliament, they Allah for me they get more than even people of Salone. So that will get how they say we need the third force. And the third force really sincere. Look Benkel Fala, when they can praise on our new program. Benkel Fala. He could put 15 count charges. And I'm not even blast out. Because the fact Sunday I had that. And I'm not blast out. 15 count charges against people who were chief guests in Salone. These are the facts in the one and day. These are the issues. 15